Live from New Delhi, you're watching Live from New Delhi, DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and coming up in the next hour. Campaigning intensifies ahead of the fifth phase of general elections 2024. 49 seats across 6 states and 2 union territories will go to polls on 20th of May. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged to deepen strategic partnership in Beijing amidst Moscow's troops advancing in Ukraine war zone. Slovakia convenes a State Security Council meet after Prime Minister Robert Fico survives an assassination attempt. Fico reportedly stable, suspect charged with attempted murder. And in a big first, India to host Bharat Parv or India Festival at Cannes Film Festival. Event to witness release of the Save the Date for the first World Audiovisual Entertainment Summit to be hosted alongside the 55th IFFI. Now let's, to begin with, get to the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. To begin with, a great Indian election, Lok Sabha election 2024 latest updates. It's a countdown of sorts for the last 3 phases of Lok Sabha polls here in India, with some high-octane campaigning crisscrossing 6 poll-bound states. On 20th of May, voting for the 5th phase across 49 constituencies will be taking place across 6 poll-bound states and 2 union territories. I get you more in this report.
On Thursday, leading the Bharatiya Janata Party's election charge in eastern UP, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held rallies in Pratapgarh, Azamgarh's Lalganj, Jaunpur's Machi Shahar and Bhadoi. Polling in these constituencies will be held in the 6th phase on May 25th.
गरीब को कैसे अभाव में जीना पड़ता था। बिजली नहीं, गैस के चूल्हे का तो सवाल नहीं, राशन नहीं, अस्पताल में इलाज नहीं, नौजवान के लिए पलायन करने के सिवाय कोई चारा नहीं। और वो वहां जहां जाते थे वहां भी चैन से नहीं रह सकते थे। उनकी पीठ पीछे यहां दबंग माफिया घर और जमीन पर कब्जा कर लेते थे।
Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah also addressed a public rally in Bihar Sitamarhi and Madhubani. BJP's National President JP Nadda held a roadshow in Bhubaneswar. Opposition Brigade also intensified their campaign ahead of the remaining phases, holding rallies across the country to woo the voters. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge addressed a public meeting in Fulwani in Orissa.
Employment मिलने के जो आसार बाहर होता है यहाँ पर वो नहीं मिलता। इसको अगर दूर करना है तो हम ये दोनों सरकार को बदलना होगा।
Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra campaigned for his brother and party leader Rahul Gandhi in Uttar Pradesh's Rai Bareilly. Meanwhile, in the largest and politically critical state of UP, Aam Aadmi Party Supremo and Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal held a joint press conference with Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav in Lucknow. Sakal Bhatt's report for DD India.
And in the fifth phase of India's great democratic election, Ladakh's lone parliamentary seat goes to polls on 20th of May. It has a unique landscape and rare flora and fauna which attracts tourists in large numbers from home and abroad. There are concerns among Ladakhis or the natives of Ladakh about it going to unsustainable levels, but eco-friendly solutions are also being put in place. Voters want sustainable solutions or practices to be the way forward in taking Ladakh's tourism to newer heights. DD India's Gautam Roy reports from Leh.
Ladakh, a land of majestic snowy mountains and awe-inspiring landscapes with rivers, valleys, high mountain passes and unique flora and fauna. Estimates say Ladakh drew around 600,000 tourists last year, but its population is barely half that number. It creates tremendous pressure on Ladakh's scarce resources ranging from water, vegetation, animals, birds and grasslands. Traffic jams have become commonplace in tourism hubs like Leh and other tourist destinations in Ladakh. Some tourists and establishments hosting them also don't behave responsibly, respecting the environment, which causes concern among Ladakhis.
There should be a responsible tourist. They are throwing garbage everywhere, and then at the same time they are playing with the life of the animal also.
Ladakh has a wide variety of rare animals and birds like the snow leopard and unique vegetation like grasslands and wetlands, which is sensitive to intrusion by tourists. Conservationists have been seeking some form of regulation of entry of tourists in Ladakh.
We, to regulate the number of tourists, would be starting some sort of a portal where people can register if they want to visit Ladakh, and there should be a cap to the number of people visiting Ladakh, and that's the only way we can regulate, otherwise it's very difficult.
But there's a flip side to the story as well, where resorts, hotels and restaurants have been built in Ladakh in the sustainable mode, using local materials and techniques which have eco-friendly practices like no single-use plastic and no changing of linen daily. Tourists appreciate the effort and stakeholders also take pride in respecting their surroundings.
I do think it's very sustainable because of the practices that I've seen them, including the mud plaster that they've built. It's rammed earth, which is like literally built from the earth where where the soil is, where the property is. Also, they have a lot of these say no to plastic and don't change your towels and things like that. So it's nice.
This is the only way, I guess, tourism can go ahead in Ladakh or be it in any part of the world, because we need to really think and take care of this planet.
Ladakh is a rare gem of nature which sits on top of India's map like a crown, and efforts are being made to ensure that it keeps enticing tourists from all over the world.
Be it tourism or development, sustainability is the way forward, particularly for an eco-sensitive zone like Ladakh. Ecotourism is something that the people here want, an agenda that should be pushed by their chosen representatives when they get to Delhi in election season. With Gunperson Naveen Kumar Jha, Gautam Roy, Leh, DD India.
And my colleague Gautam joins us live from picturesque Leh, from the Union Territory of Ladakh. And also let's go live across to DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya joining us from Lucknow, the capital of one of the largest Indian states, Uttar Pradesh. Ladakh, first coming to you, Gautam, enjoying the weather out there. And we saw your comprehensive report on the sustainable tourism, etc. To begin with, very crucial elections post-abrogation of Article 370, after which Ladakh attained the status of Union Territory. Give us an insight as far as the political contest is concerned and the issues that would matter, of course, including the wish list they have for the eco-friendly tourism. Gautam, over to you.
Well, good evening, Sakul. As they say, Jule in Ladakh. I traveled from Leh, in fact, today about 250 kilometers away to come to Kargil. What you see behind me is the city of Kargil, and it's about 8 degrees Celsius here right now. And if you look at how this region has been put together, there are two distinct districts. One is Leh and the other Kargil. And their demographic is slightly different because Leh is Buddhist dominated and Kargil is Muslim dominated. And that kind of a difference is being reflected in the contest as well this time around, because there are two prime parties, the BJP and the Congress, and they've given candidates from Leh. and there is one independent in the fray. That's just 3 candidates total, and he's from Kargil, and he's a sort of a consensus candidate. There are Muslim schools of thought that are backing him. There are other people who were planning to contest but then backed out in his favor, and now the speculation is, what does this do to the contest? Because the question is, will the vote in Leh get divided, and will the Kargil independent candidate who used to be in the National Conference, which is the Kashmir Party, might emerge victorious? But I was with the Congress candidate as well today. He's been camping and campaigning in Kargil for the last 3 days, and he, as well as the BJP candidate, and the BJP candidate was changed this time around. The sitting MP was dropped, a new person emerged, and he's also been giving it all. The BJP won twice the last time. In 2014, just a margin of 36 votes. In 2019, a larger margin, 8.4 or 8.6%. But it's a very tough contest this time around because people have a lot of aspirations even after getting the UT status. They want more. There are demands of statehood as well. They want more jobs in the region, for which there are some people who feel that being with Jammu Kashmir as a full state was better because there is no state service here. So government jobs are fewer now. And they have a lot of these aspirations that they are seeking should be fulfilled. The government has engaged with them as well, the central government too, because it's a union territory. And the process is ongoing, and the elections have now come in the middle. There's a code of conduct on, so that process will have to wait, and we'll see how it's taken forward after the elections, depending on who wins.
All right. Yes, aptly put. Let's quickly go across to Gautam, to Tapas also. Gautam, thank you very much for that input. And Tapas, very quickly now, Uttar Pradesh, extremely critical in terms of numbers. We're looking at a major chunk of 80 constituencies. They say there's a political cliche. Road to Delhi goes via UP. And there it seems that the opposition is extremely desperate to bounce back to power, helmed by Samajwadi Party. What's the sense you're getting as far as the electorate and the issues that matter the most are concerned?
Well, Sakal, let me just put it this way. First, I'm very envious of the fact that, Gautam is there in 8 degrees Celsius. Here, it's 9 more than 9 p.m., but it's the temperature is over 30 degrees Celsius. So it's hot and yes, it's hot. It's hot and
Absolutely.
It's humid out here.
Scorching, yes.
And absolutely, the temperature is over 42 degrees Celsius in daytime. But even then, the political fight that has taken up here, it's actually making it more scorching. Just to put it in perspective, the next 3 phases that will go to polls, the phase 5, 6 and 7, will see 41 seats in UP. And remember, the last time BJP won 62 seats in 2019, 71 seats in 2014. They want a repeat of at least 62 or probably better that particular record, and they will be looking forward to that, because as I mentioned, the fact that if you mentioned already that the road to Delhi goes through UP, and if they want a third term, BJP want a third term, it is imperative that they improve their tally, or at least don't go what they already have. Now, just to put it in perspective, Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2 days will have 7 rallies up in here. Today he had 4 rallies, and now tomorrow he will be having 3 rallies. So you can imagine the kind of things that the kind of political work that is going on in this particular phase. In phase 5, you have 3 very crucial states that that's going to go to poll: Raebareli, Amethi, and Lucknow. And Smriti Irani, Rahul Gandhi, Rajnath Singh, they all will be looking to win their mandate. Also, Kesaganj will see there's a very interesting fight. So you see a lot of direct fight between between BJP and SP. This is where the real election starts, and as I mentioned, 41 seats will be up in the next grabs, 3 phases, yes. And for grabs, and BJP is looking forward to make the most of it, and that's one reason why you see Prime Minister Narendra Modi camping in UP in these 2 days, today and tomorrow also.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Gautam, joining us live from Leh. Please enjoy the sub-zero temperatures out there. As Tapas rightly put, we are just struggling with the scorching heat in national capital as well as in Lucknow. Both of you, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Host Bahrain calls for a Middle East peace conference at the start of an Arab League summit dominated by the Israel-Hamas conflict. Russia ups the ante to capture a strategic Ukrainian village, coincides with President Putin's Beijing visit. And External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar reaffirms India's stand on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
We are in Cannes, the famous city on the French Riviera. The 77th edition of the Cannes Film Festival is here. So soak into 12 days of world cinema and the hottest fashion trends. The famous 24 steps leading to the Palais des Festivals, where most of the cinema at this festival is screened, are beckoning. Join me, Munmun Bhattacharya, as I take you through all the buzz around the festival and on India's participation in it, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and now let's move on to more news and updates. Arab leaders attended the 33rd Arab Summit in Bahrain's Shakir Palace on Thursday. The delegates from across the Arab world, including Syrian President, Egyptian President and Palestinian President, attended this summit. Host Bahrain called for a Middle East peace conference to end Israel-Hamas conflict. Jordan's King Abdullah called on Arab states to confront the militant groups that smuggle drugs and arms in the Arab Summit in Bahrain. And as the fighting between Israel and Hamas intensifies in Gaza, 5 Israeli soldiers reportedly were killed and several injured in the northern Gaza Strip after being struck by Israeli tank fire. The Israeli military says that there was a tank crossfire of the 202 Battalion Israeli ground forces re-entering parts of northern Gaza this month to prevent Hamas from regrouping. And Sarah Kotz, my colleague, joining us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, good evening. So we would like to understand from you as far as the Arab Summit is concerned. It is expected to thoroughly discuss the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip, considering Qatar along with Egypt have been the main mediators between Israel and Hamas. What details can you share with our viewers?
Hello there. Well, we certainly do know that Bahrain's king opened this summit calling for peace in the region, saying that there needs to be an international summit on that issue. Now, we've also heard from the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He's just spoken out saying that Arab countries need to condition relations with Israel based on a ceasefire. And this is certainly one of the big issues that these members there will be discussing today. But really, as this happens, what we are actually seeing on the ground is vastly different. We did hear from Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant just a little earlier today. He says that what will be happening over the next few days is an expanded operation down in that southern region of Rafah. This, of course, is that same area that was declared as a safe zone some months ago. But the Israelis, they are adamant on pushing forward with an operation in Rafah, believing that the remaining 4 Hamas battalions are stationed there. So certainly, as this summit takes place, what we're seeing really is intensive fighting happening in many, many parts right over the Gaza Strip, also including in Jabalia. This, of course, is in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, and it was an area that the Israeli Defense Forces had previously said that they had cleared of Hamas fighters. They now say that Hamas is now regrouped in that area, which is why we are seeing these intense operations happening on the ground. And I just did hear you mention the loss of life on the Israeli side just a little earlier today. These 5 people, they were killed actually in Jabalia in what the government is calling a friendly fire incident.
So do you think this situation, the current situation that you're describing in Gaza as we speak, has certainly necessitated a clear stance from the international community, at least the part of international community that is participating in the summit out there, against this war, this move?
Well, of course, the international community is growing increasingly frustrated, increasingly worried about the situation on the ground inside Gaza. What we have really been seeing is an real international effort to try and get this vital humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip amid famine warnings from the United Nations. Now, so far the UN says that some 75% of the population in Gaza has been displaced a number of times, and we are hearing about these famine warnings in places like the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Now, as it stands, two of these major crossings, we're speaking here about the Kerem Shalom crossing and also the Rafah border crossing, they do remain closed. And these two really provide vital lifelines for the people inside the Gaza Strip. Now, a little earlier today, the United States did announce that it has now reopened, or opened, I should say, this temporary pier that has been built over the past few weeks off the coast there of Gaza, and will begin over the coming days to facilitate some vital humanitarian aid. We do understand the first shipment to actually hit that pier will be British aid. So what we're seeing here is a real international effort to try and help these people in the Gaza Strip and really bring about some peace through some sort of a ceasefire. But as I did mention, the Israelis are adamant there will be no ceasefire until Hamas has been defeated. And once again, it says that it will not be defeated until this Rafah operation is complete and the last 4 Hamas battalions are dismantled.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Sarah, for those inputs from Tel Aviv. In other news, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin has pledged to deepen their strategic partnership in Beijing on Thursday in a stock show of their growing alignment as Moscow's troops advance in Ukraine. President Putin's delegation includes top defense and security officials. They were welcomed by Xi Jinping to Beijing's Great Hall of the People earlier with full military pageantry, in fact kick-starting start of the Russian president's 2-day state visit. Faiz Khan of DD India gets us this report.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing on Thursday for a 2-day state visit to China. Choosing China for his inaugural foreign visit since his new term as Russian president, Putin vowed to increase the influence of the two countries in the world. The two sides are expected to hold talks on Ukraine, Asia and energy sector.
We will continue to act in unison for the successful development of the two countries, prosperity of the two people, to increase the authority and influence of Russia and China in the world.
Two countries signed and issued a joint statement on deepening China and Russia's comprehensive strategic partnership. They also agreed to deepen their strategic partnership and slammed the United States for threatening their countries.
We jointly signed and issued a joint statement of the People's Republic of China and the Russian Federation on deepening China and Russia's comprehensive strategic partnership in the new era on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations.
The joint statement also spoke of concerns about US efforts to violate the strategic nuclear balance, about global US missile defense that threatened Russia and China, and about US plans for high-precision non-nuclear weapons. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken last month urged China to drop its support for Russia's conflict with Ukraine. But Putin and Xi's signing of strategic partnership sent to the US on Beijing's bias towards Moscow. In a joint presser with Xi, Putin called 2024 the year of a Russo-Chinese cultural cooperation. Meanwhile, Xi said that he and Putin discussed ways to bolster ties in multiple areas. Earlier, the Chinese president said that both sides agreed that a political settlement to the Ukraine crisis was the right decision. Faiz Khan reporting for DD India.
Russia, meanwhile, has intensified its efforts to capture a strategic Ukrainian village as part of their ongoing military operations, coinciding with President Putin's and Xi Jinping's deepening their partnership and issuing a joint statement on the crisis. Amid the offensive, Ukrainian President Zelensky visited Kharkiv to meet with his military officials. And while following the US pledge of $2 billion in military aid, NATO's Rob Boer has assured further support for Ukraine in Brussels.
In the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russian forces, as part of their ongoing military operations in the region, are intensifying their efforts to capture a strategic Ukrainian village and claim to have destroyed 11 Ukrainian sea drones in the Black Sea that were headed for Crimea on Thursday. This escalation coincides with a significant development on the international stage where Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are deepening their diplomatic relations. Amid a raging Russian offensive in the north, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky traveled to the city of Kharkiv and held meetings with the military on Thursday.
I would like to ask you to on-post to all your fellow soldiers in the 92nd Brigade my gratitude for not letting the enemy go forward. You are great soldiers. I also want to thank you all, other soldiers and brigades for defending their homes, all Ukraine. Today it is this important area.
While a day after the US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken made the remark that his country will provide Ukraine with $2 billion in foreign military financing, NATO Military Committee Chief Rob Boer on Thursday at a meeting in Brussels assured more help to Ukraine.
Today is the 813th day of what Russia thought would be a 3-day war. Ukraine has demonstrated to the world that it has the ability to achieve unprecedented success on the battlefield. There is nothing they cannot do. All they need is our help. Luckily, more help is on the way.
As tensions escalate and diplomatic maneuvers unfold, the fate of Ukraine hangs in the balance with military assistance from Western allies and ongoing negotiations between global powers. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
The suspect in the assassination attempt on Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has been charged with attempted murder. Slovakia's Interior Minister on Thursday said the shooter had acted alone and had previously taken part in anti-government protests. The Slovak Prime Minister was shot multiple times and hospitalized on Wednesday following a cabinet meeting. External Affairs Minister of India Dr. Jaishankar on Thursday reaffirmed his stand on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, saying that it was an integral part of India and that would come back to the country.
मुझे लगता है कि पीओके जो है भारत का अंग है, कहीं एक समय में किसी के कमजोरी के कारण, किसी की गलती के कारण हमारे यहाँ से टेम्परेली निकल गया, टेम्परेली। तो आप यह भी जानते हैं कि इसमें एक संसद, ये संसद का, पूरे संसद का और माने सर्वसम्मति से एक रेजोल्यूशन है कि हम जो है कभी न कभी पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर को वापस लेंगे, ये पोजीशन।
And a day after, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that the countries which have to go to court for deciding election results are lecturing on conducting polls. Former Ambassador Surendra Kumar reiterated that the West cannot and should not preach India.
A country which is having almost 970 million eligible voters, has held elections so many times, does not need lecture from any country, whether they are Western countries or whether they are rich countries or developed countries. We have been applauded for holding free, fair, impartial elections. That is what is happening now. And those countries which criticize us are certainly not appreciating what is happening in this largest democracy in the world.
And still to come on DT India News Hour, coming up next on your channel. Former US President's ex-lawyer and prosecution witness Michael Cohen being cross-examined again in hush money case. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauds the implementation of Citizenship Amendment Act. As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
We are in Assam. This is the tea city of India.
From down south, Tamil Nadu.
Discover the colors of democracy.
Gateway to northeast of India.
Coastal state of Kerala. Watch Poll Pulse on DT India.
You're watching DT India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and now let's move on and take a look at some more headlines. The top stories. Campaigning intensifies ahead of the fifth phase of general elections 2024. 49 seats across 6 states and 2 union territories will go to polls on 20th of May in India. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin pledged to deepen strategic partnership in Beijing amidst Moscow's troops advancing in Ukraine. Slovakia convenes a State Security Council meet after Prime Minister Robert Fico survives an assassination attempt. Fico reportedly stable, suspect charged with attempted murder. Former US President Donald Trump's lawyers have resumed their cross-examination of the Republican presidential candidate's ex-fixer Michael Cohen on Thursday, aiming to undermine his testimony that Trump was intimately involved in buying an adult actor's silence over an alleged sexual encounter. Cohen testified this week that Trump ordered him to pay Stormy Daniels around $130,000 in 2016 to protect Trump's presidential campaign. And speaking inside the courthouse hallway, Trump once again leveled this trial as a Biden trial and described this trial a scam and a sham.
Every single review, every legal scholar that I've been able to read said there's no case, there's no crime, it's a disgrace that it was allowed to happen. The judge, as you know, is highly conflicted, like nobody I've ever seen is conflicted. So Biden's office is running this trial. This trial is a scam and it's a sham and it shouldn't happen.
DT India's Sally Peterson joins us live from New York for more. Now, Sally, give us some more insights as far as the trials as we speak is underway. And Donald Trump calling it the scam and the sham, will it really cut ice?
Well, Michael Cohen is back on the stand here in New York City, and it's the cross-examination. That's what we're seeing take place here behind me. We've now heard several days of Cohen's testimony where he's had the opportunity with the prosecution to give his side of the story, what he says happened way back in 2016, just as Americans were about to head to the polls in the presidential election. We're not so far away now from another presidential election, and this could really determine what happens next with Donald Trump and his chances of getting back into the White House. We've been hearing in the last hour or so from Michael Cohen as he is grilled by Trump's team, who are basically trying to discredit his testimony and disprove him as a reliable witness on the stand. He was played, there was a recording played inside court of a recording between Cohen and others where he said, "I truly hope that this man ends up in prison. You better believe I want this man to go down and inside and rot inside for what he did to my family." Now, that audio is really going to be used by the defense to try and show the jury that this is a vindictive and angry ex-employee who's determined to get back at his former boss for what he says happened to him. Donald Trump is, of course, central to this case. He's pleaded not guilty to 34 criminal counts of falsifying business records. That's all in relation to a payment allegedly made back in 2016.
Okay, so as more skeletons tumble out, do you think, Sally, this is going to become increasingly difficult for former President Trump to come out clean, really, as we are looking at this massive election season out there?
Well, Trump continues to maintain his innocence in this case. He has called it a political witch hunt. He says it's being orchestrated by his rivals and his political opponents in a bid to try and keep him off the campaign trail and instead inside the courtroom. He's a criminal defendant in this historic case in US history and therefore is required by law to sit inside the court every day that it's sitting. He's repeatedly complained not only that he has to be there, but also about the temperature of the room, saying it's too cold for anyone to be in. The judge has ruled that Trump must continue to come in every day, although Friday we're not expecting court to sit because it's Donald Trump's son's graduation, so he's been granted the day off on that one. But on the whole, he's expected to be here. He is trying to find ways to campaign amid this case, speaking to the media before and after court each day, where he goes on a little campaign speech, talking about this being a sham, talking about how unfair it all is, pointing aim at the judge, Juan Merchan, in this case. There are some people he's not allowed to speak about because he's under a gag order. That includes the jury and witnesses. And he's been fined thousands of dollars by the judge for breaching that court order and going after members involved in this case. We're looking at the polls coming out in the lead up to the election. We're not so far away now. And those indicate that there continues to be a real neck and neck between Trump and US President Joe Biden, with Trump particularly seeming to do well in some of those crucial swing states that's what we're seeing at the moment.
All right, Sally, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us live from New York. Thanks. On Trump trial. Some more news and updates. In India, a day after the first set of citizenship certificates under the Citizenship Amendment Act was issued, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the implementation of Citizenship Amendment Act. Here's a report by Shalini.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the implementation of Citizenship Amendment Act and accused the opposition parties for spreading lies about CAA. Prime Minister Modi noted that the work towards giving citizenship to those who are victims of partition has already started.
मोदी की गारंटी का मतलब क्या होता है, इसका ताजा उदाहरण CAA कानून है। CAA कानून है और आपने देखा होगा कल ही CAA कानून के तहत शरणार्थियों को भारत की नागरिकता देने का काम शुरू हो गया। ये वो लोग हैं जो धर्म के आधार पर हुए भारत के बंटवारे का शिकार हुए थे।
Prime Minister's remarks came a day after the first set of citizenship certificates under CAA were issued in New Delhi to 14 people, nearly 2 months after rules under the law were notified to grant Indian nationality to persecuted minorities.
प्रथम 300 लोगों को नागरिकता मिलने जा रही है। CAA देश का कानून है और इसको इस तरह से झुठलाया नहीं जा सकता। जो हिंदू, सिख, बौद्ध, जैन, क्रिश्चियन पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश और अफगानिस्तान से आए, वो सारे लोग 2014 के पहले जो शरणार्थी बनकर आए, उनका अधिकार है, डॉक्यूमेंट हो न हो, उनको नागरिकता मिलेगी।
Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla handed over citizenship certificates to some applicants in the capital, New Delhi.
With this new Amendment Act, rules काफ़ी ease out कर दिए गए हैं, तो relaxations काफ़ी हैं, तो काफ़ी जल्दी प्रोसीजर में हमें नए एक्ट के अंदर नेशनलिटी मिल गई है, काफ़ी स्मूथली। नहीं बिल्कुल, ये काफ़ी सालों का स्ट्रगल था हमारा, एक और है तो एक पेपर, लेकिन ये बहुत वैल्यू रखता है
हमारे लिए। CAA बिल पास हुआ, हमारे दुख दर्द को न सुना, हमें बहुत बड़ी खुशी है। भारत माता की जय।
हमें बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि हमें नागरिकता मिली क्योंकि हम भारत के हो गए। भारत से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कहना चाहते हैं।
The legislation was notified by Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led central government on March 11 this year. Enacted in December 2019, the CAA aims to extend Indian citizenship to persecuted minorities. Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis and Christians flee religious persecution in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. This humanitarian initiative intends to offer sanctuary. It is to those who arrived in India on or before December 31st, 2014. A large number of Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan and Afghanistan who came to India through legal means stand to gain from the CAA. According to Hindu Singh Sodha, Simant Lok Sangathan, a group that advocates for the rights of Pakistani minority migrants in India, around 80,000 applications are submitted from Pakistan.
Granting citizenship under the Citizenship Amendment Act is one of the major poll promises in BJP's election manifesto. But given the political resistance it has received from certain quarters, this has the potential to become a major talking point in this election season. Nupur Praveen for DD India in New Delhi.
Praful Ketkar, editor-organizer, joining us to understand the long-standing implications of this unprecedented move. Do you think how precedented is this, Praful Ketkar ji, by the Indian government in terms of providing recognition to these minorities and the timings of it?
Sakal, we need to understand two important things. One, right since independence, when India was partitioned, it was a promise, and Nehru-Liaquat Pact was when it was not actually the spirit was not respected by Pakistan, and minorities in Pakistan continued earlier East and West Pakistan, and then Bangladesh and Pakistan continued to face persecution on various grounds. And there was a series. In 1971, there was one part, and earlier also Indian governments have, facilitated such citizenship. But what has happened post 1990s, that the large number of people who were persecuted came in batches, and they were living either on tourist visa or some other legal arrangement. Now, what this act has done, that especially for the people who have come post 2008-9, it has facilitated them, or rather fast-tracked. The citizenship is open for anybody who is coming to India, irrespective of religion. But CAA does an exemption for this particular group of people. As we have seen in the Western world, for instance, America had given a special kind of citizenship to the Jews and the Christians coming from Iran after Iranian Revolution. The similar kind of provision is done under CAA. Here, the period for them to stay in India has been reduced from 11 years to 5 years. Now, district level committees can they can submit their applications through district level committees. The scrutiny will take place. Some local organizations can verify their religious identity. Whether they have come, when did they come. So all those documents they have to submit. On the portal, more than 25,000 applications have already received, and if the numbers are to be believed, then 80,000 families only from Pakistan side have, if you go for Bangladesh, and remember, Sakal, we need to understand the dynamics here, because most of these people who were forced to flee their hometowns were from scheduled caste and some scheduled tribes also. Because due to their religious identity, they at the time of partition they decided to stay back, or they were completely unaware. Many of them, I've spoken to some of those families, they were even unaware that there is something called partition that has taken place. So they were not, conscious of that the line is drawn on religious identity basis, and one separate nation state called Pakistan was created. So finally they decided and somehow reached India, but they didn't have any concrete identity. Now this humanitarian effort has now given them some chance of relief.
Okay.
Because now they will be getting facilities under all.
But there is this consistent effort by the opposition to, you know, escalate a fake narrative, because this is coinciding with the elections. Obviously, there is no link. But though Prime Minister has also given a befitting response to these lies peddled out by the opposition bloc, do you see this as a challenge?
I don't think now, because one, Indian Parliament has already passed the law. Two, government has already come out with the regulations related to implementation of this law, and now the process has already started. Some of the state governments are claiming that we will not implement it, but as far as the Indian Constitution and Indian federal laws are concerned, when it comes to the citizenship, in India we have a single citizenship, that is the Indian citizenship. So we don't have a state-wise citizenship like the United States of America. So there is no question that a state can deny a citizenship. As far as the areas like protected areas like tribal areas or northeastern regions, they are already protected under this law. So these people cannot settle down there as citizens. But in all other parts of India, so politically there may be some parties who will try to play around this, and especially because of the missing of the word Muslim, simply because they don't understand that Muslims coming from any other country, including Bangladesh and Pakistan or Afghanistan, they can apply.
So this is clearly not a political move.
Absolutely. This is they can apply for citizenship in India, but for them it will be for 11 years. These are the people who are coming in specific conditions.
Right.
They are persecuted there from and coming from Islamic countries. They are self-declared Islamic countries, and hence for those minorities, this special provision of just fast-tracking citizenship is being provided.
All right, we'll have to leave it there, Praful Ketkar, but many thanks for providing us insight into this unprecedented move by the Indian government. Thank you for joining. And now let's move on and also take a look at other stories making news at this hour. At least 11 people lost their lives and many more injured due to lightning strikes in various locations across Malda district in West Bengal on Thursday. Malda and Murshidabad districts have witnessed the seasonal storm of West Bengal called Kal Baisakhi. The National Investigation Agency or NIA has attached 7 immovable properties of the top terrorists belonging to the banned Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist organization. Terrorist Sartaj Ahmed Mantu's properties at Kisarigam in Pulwama district of Kashmir were attached today. Sartaj was arrested in January 2020 and several arms, ammunition and explosives were recovered from the possession. Aam Aadmi Party dissolves 2 Delhi units after former MLA Nitin Tyagi from the Lakshminagar Assembly constituencies posted a video on X alleging that Aam Aadmi Party Rajya Sabha MP Swati Maliwal was being intimidated and silenced. The action comes at a time when the party is in the midst of the Lok Sabha campaign. And still to come on DD India News Hour, coming up next. DD India team gets you updates from Cannes Film Festival 2024.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
watching DD India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Amidst a backdrop of fluctuating foreign exchange reserves, Bangladesh Bank has been employing varied methodologies to calculate the nation's reserves, unveiling differing figures. Traders and consumers alike have responded to these variations with increased apprehension, leading to price surges across various commodities. As per the central bank's latest figures, the total reserve stood at $23.77 billion as of May 14th. The International Monetary Fund's method, however, records the reserves at a lower 18.32 billion, with actual usable reserves slightly less than 13 billion. The dollar shortfall and the resulting economic uncertainty underscores the critical balance required in managing foreign exchange and macroeconomic stability in Bangladesh, a nation heavily reliant on export earnings and remittances from its expatriate community. And now updates from Cannes Film Festival 2024. So India at the Cannes Film Festival is hosting Bharat Parv, or India Festival, for the first time. It will be networking evening where Indian talent and opportunities will be showcased. The official poster and trailer of the 55th India International Film Festival, or IFFI, to be held in Goa in November, will be unveiled at the Bharat Parv, or India Festival. And DD India's Munmun Bhattacharya spoke to Alan McAlex, I beg your pardon, the Indian producer of Sister Midnight and Santosh. Both films are in official selection of Cannes Film Festival this year. Take a listen.
Joining me in Cannes is Alan McAlex. He is the Indian producer of Santosh as well as Sister Midnight, both of which are official selections from India in the Cannes Film Festival this year. Such a pleasure to have you, Alan, on DD India. What I found quite interesting is that both these movies have taken benefit of the incentive scheme of the Government of India. So tell us, how did that happen and what are the incentives that these two films enjoy?
Yeah. Yes, the incentive was announced in May 2022 out here in Cannes, and it was in 22, end of the 22 is when we decided to get into production, and I had no clue, if this money is real. Nobody in the UK side also was sure. So we never used this incentive as part of the finance plan. We always thought, okay, it's a bonus that would come in at later in the production. But then since the budget was quite tight, we didn't want to cut the budget. So we took a risk of using certain expenses deferred on the incentive. And yes, we finally got money on both the projects. In March 2020, this year, March 2024, I would say Santosh took 3 months from the time we applied, and same with Sister Midnight, took a little longer. It was our first project, so we understood the paperwork, we understood the documentation. But yes, it is real. Now, if everyone asks me, is this money real? I keep telling them now, it is real. We got the money. And that's how and thanks to NFDC, the Film Facilitation Office, and the Ministry of Information and Broadcast, they made it all seamless.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This application is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we will be back with more news and updates as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching us. DD India Live.